about the time zones.
Ew! That's gonna...
Wait, how's
Okay, I don't think that got on the stream, because we're starting to stream right now.
Wait, how is that a word for head? What? Whatever. Okay.
It's weird coming from him, is the point.
I think it'd be weird if really anyone else said it.
Yeah, so let me go notify Looney.
I got somebody on the
Cause
stream who says, like, hey, once you have the stream up, let me know so I can post the link. And I'm like, oh, okay. Sure, 8:30 it will be up and running. So I already sent it to her, so... Or him. I'm not sure which it is. Oh, I have the stream going in a tab.
Yeah.
Yes, I know! I just said I knew.
But do you know?
Heather, do you know
It's a good thing I finished that macaroni and cheese and hot dogs, or else we'd still be doing that. I'd still be eating it.
about time zones and how they affect your schedule?
Can
Heather,
you
do
eat
know?
me? I don't want to know the other time schedules. I think everyone should just stop doing daylight savings.
It's not just about daylight savings, Heather. It's about time zones. It's, you know, it gets dark for me 3 hours before it gets dark for you.
I don't care at this very juncture, okay? You know, find another time to lecture me about crap, not on mine. I'm so sick of all of you.
You look very nice today, though.
No, I don't. Shut up.
What are you talking about? Your hair is very pretty. It's looking particularly voluptuous.
You're voluptuous in the butt.
I most certainly am not.
Psh, that's just your opinion, man.
I got a heck of a belly.
No, you don't.
Oh,
Brandon,
snap, the
can you-
chemions are coming out.
Yeah, because it's a convention. They always come out when it's a convention. Bronny, God, you know this.
Mm-hmm. So how are you doing today, Brandon?
I did two stupid things over the course of 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see shit.
I just figured out that I used the wrong fuel for my car, and I may or may not have to suffer for it. I was driving around. Gas is real cheap now, but it took me a while to find a gas station that didn't have closed pumps or anything like that. So I finally found one, and I see 85% ethanol fuel, and I'm like, oh, okay, my car should be fine with that. And I didn't bother to look at the owner's manual until like today. Turns out that's not the right fuel for my car.
Oh, jeez.
And I looked at the owner's manual, and it says unleaded fuel only. Do not use fuel with more than 10% ethanol. And I just filled up my tank with 85% ethanol gas. And
I'm not dressed.
yeah, I've been looking a bit. Apparently, it's not like a terrible mistake compared to say putting diesel in, but still, it is causing some hopefully temporary performance problems with my car already. And I always thought it was just, oh, maybe I need an oil change, but no, it's maybe I do need one. Maybe this just happened to fall in place, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what has been happening is that it goes to gear 4. That's fine. I need to go to gear 4, and it's an automatic, so I don't have to do anything. But it tops out at that gear at 2,000 RPMs, and it won't go past that. If it tries to, while it's getting into gear, once it hits gear 4, you can hear you can like feel the car stall to 2,000 RPM, and it won't go up. You can stop. It'll go down, and it'll do the same thing to get into gear again, but it won't go higher.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
I'm an idiot. I'm taking it to a mechanic. They're not open. They're not open Sunday, so I have to go Monday. But I'm an idiot who doesn't deserve a car.
Life lessons.
You know, I wasn't sure for a while if I was taking care of my car correctly. I had no idea when you're supposed to take it in for an oil change. Like, I think I've asked Bronny twice and I never remember the reason.
5,000 miles or so?
I said 3,000.
I thought it was 5,000 or like 7,000. I think it's 5,000.
Either way, I don't have to do that for a while.
All right, so Heather, Looney's gonna give us a panel room in his LooneyCon server, so we're gonna migrate. We might want to migrate over there, or
Sounds awesome.
we might not have to. I would just tell everybody to come in here and chat with us.
Sounds good.
And then the second thing that happened. Should I save it or should I just say it now?
Go ahead and say it now while
Yeah.
we're waiting for Heather.
We totally.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm done. But like, no, totally for filler.
So, the second dumb thing that I did today, I was bored and I was doing cashiering work, whatever. And there were a bunch of zip ties near my register. I mostly just fooled around with them, but I took one, and I was like, "Hey, what if I put it around my wrist?" And I did, and I put it on too tight. 4 minutes later, I regret my decision, but I didn't panic. And that's the one thing you got to take out of this is that you don't panic. So, I went to the desk near where I was working, and I looked through all the drawers to try to find scissors, and I couldn't find scissors. I found one of those staple removers, and I did that to poke a couple of holes in the zip tie after I found a weak point.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, I was like, okay, I'll just have to use, and I have one of those box knives that like only employees can use. So I had to very carefully slip that like in between my wrist and my and the zip tie, and I had to kind of shimmy it a little bit to cut the zip tie, which I did eventually. I did give myself a minor injury, like I did cut myself a little bit, and there's red marks on where the zip tie was, but all that stuff's gonna go away.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I know. I need a babysitter or a way to stay entertained.
Mm-hmm. So, we're starting at a slightly different time tonight, Heather. Why don't you tell us about that?
Should I get into my big speech that I prepared now?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. Hello, my loyal subjects. I am Princess Heather P. Blossom, as many of you know, because most of you are regulars. I host this stream, Chaos and Crochet, and I can't see my speech with these on, I gotta be honest. So we're switching to me wearing glasses. Don't worry, I'll wear my gold frames, because those are still very stylish. Chaos and Crochet is my stream. We start around 7 o'clock most nights in Arizonian time, because that's what I'm going to call it. My time, which I guess is Pacific time now. I don't know. So, I have been crocheting for about 4 to 5 years. I learned my second year of college from some very nice grannies. They weren't my grannies, but they were grannies. So I haven't been crocheting my whole life. It's been a couple of years. Had to start from the ground up when you're not best at learning. But with me today are my two closest friends, the Dark Prince of Emo himself, or we'll just call him Brandon, and my man Bronny Buck. I date that one. Introduce yourself, guys.
Do it, Brandon. Introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself.
So I'm Brandon, or Dark Prince of Emo. As my Twitter handle and my Discord handle. I rebranded from my old YouTube name, Crisis Machine Gunner, which I made when I was 13, and I made it into Signature here. I plan on having videos up when coronavirus stops forcing me to save money. I myself am not a brony, but I'm friends with two of them. I guess that counts. Back in 2012, I was at one point. 2014 and beyond, that's gonna be a no for me, sir. But they're my friends for other reasons. I bother Heather, she bothers me. So, you're not a brony, I hear you cry. Yeah, I just said that. So, what are you into? Me, I'm a very big music person. I have been for a good while. My family's always been very musical, so I think they can take the blame for that one. I'm learning piano, and I know some guitar, which is an instrument Heather desperately needs to practice.
Yeah, yeah.
I like a lot of alt and indie rock, but if something sounds good, then I just listen to it. I like the genre, but I don't really care for patterns. Writing's fun, but Legend of Zelda is more fun. Talk about that series for days. So please, please ask, please, any of these topics are safe trigger words. Both of these guys know the unsafe ones, and hopefully, for their sake and mine, they won't bring it up.
Nah, yeah, I'm not going there.
Yep,
Alright.
I might bring it up, but not at this very
He-
moment.
He might regret it, but not at this very moment.
Alright, Bronny, you introduce yourself, my man.
Yeah, I'm not sure what there is to say. My name is Brawny. I've been in the fandom since 2010. I started making videos in 2012, and I've been doing it ever since. I met Heather through the Brony fandom, through a mutual friend of ours named Louie, and then she introduced me to Brandon, and we've been hanging out. So Heather, it looks like from the chat here we got all of our regulars. So how do we want to do today's panel?
Hi, regulars.
Well, if all the regulars are here,
kind
it
of what it is, isn't it? We're doing a panel today for LooneyCon.
Yeah, which, so it goes back to a little bit of what I've scripted, because even if there are regulars, there are a few that have been here longer than others, and some where they're still new to the stream, so let me give them the rundown that I had, so, in case any new ones show up. So let's get down to business. Chaos and Crocheting has two essential parts. Chaos and crocheting. Let me break down that latter half for you. First, like I said, I haven't been crocheting my whole life, just for a few years, but in that time I've tackled many different projects, which I actually have piled over here that I want to show you guys. So I've tried things from scarves to vests to plushies, everyone's favorite. I've obviously done pony plushies as well as characters from other series, like I made the Pyro from TF2 and Temmie from Undertale that I gifted to my buddy Brandon here. He has it. So I've made most of the time I've had with this skill set. For most of the time, though, I've kept the process to myself and just posted the results on my DeviantArt and Twitter, until one night I'm talking to friends at Crocheting, as I tend to do, and we're talking about streams or whatever, and I ask, hey guys, should I stream my crocheting? And Bronny was there at the time and said, sure, but that might be boring in and of itself, just by itself. So you'll need to really interact with the chat to make it interesting, and I'm like, I can do that. And with that nugget of advice, I started the first Chaos and Crochet stream. It started out just for me, for a while. Like, I was just managing the chat on my own and crocheting and talking to people all on my lonesome. Then Bronny got involved and offered to monitor the chat so more crocheting could actually get done. I wouldn't be reading. So I don't have to read anymore. Yay! We were a team until a few weekends he had to be lame and couldn't make it. So I asked Brandon if he would like to monitor the stream for me, because I was used to it that way by then. He turned out to be really good at it, so I kept him, and then they both of them attacking the chat every Saturday, and that was great. These two are both dudes that mesh well together and with me, and in varied interests, so any topic we bring up, more than half the time one of us has some opinion or something. Though there have been a few times where somebody has stumped us, been like, have you heard of this very obscure anime series? And we're all just kind of like, no, we haven't. So yeah, that's pretty much everything there, but let me go ahead and show you where, as far as how I've come with crocheting. I have for you guys right here the very first plushie that I ever made. Do you know who he is? I'll give you a hint. It's not a cat. This is...
Well, I have to wait.
Nope. If y'all want to guess who this is.
Is it a dog?
Close. He knows who it is.
Tell us who it is.
This is Dr. Wolf, the analyst, which we kind of been acquainted with him, but like this was before I was even into a lot of analysis stuff, but I was a big fan of him. I enjoyed his dramatic readings. I watched a lot of his videos at the time, so I decided to crochet him. And I only did this a few months into learning how to crochet. The grannies, like I said, these grannies, I met them through college. They basically just had a room, and I signed up for a needlework class thinking it was going to be way different, but they just got in a circle and taught me how to do things. And I did this all on my own. I didn't follow a pattern or anything, and they were kind of impressed. For a novice, I guess this would be kind of impressive. But as it stands now, it's not great. It's still put together after all these years, so that's something. But as you can see, there's a lot of errors with it. It can't exactly stand up on its own. His head is too heavy for him to really hold. These glasses don't quite fit him. I made this, this is a tie, if you can tell. His legs aren't exactly aligned with his arms. They're kind of stumpy and not at the same level. So a lot of mistakes, but I did learn a lot from this project. And his, you know what, the button eyes could have been on tighter. So, yep, that was my first ever plushie, Dr. Wolf. So thanks for the inspiration, Dr. Wolf. You set me down a path. Next, I want to show you, probably it's a very different pattern because I was doing a lot of ponies at the time, but I found a different pattern to do a Triceratops. And I thought he came out rather well for a pattern that was very unique. Like, this tail is a part of the body. Like, it's not sewn on. Like, I had to, like, decrease and then go like this for a while, and it was really interesting. The legs are cute and small, and, you know, yeah, I liked how the way his frill came out. His horns aren't exactly staying aligned, but, you know, I think it looks really good. This is one of the ones I am still very proud of, and it's made me like Triceratops a lot more. And one of these is, if you ever see me at a con a few years back, this is King Sombra, and I used to carry this guy around with so much pride. He was one of my most ambitious projects because Sombra is a character with a lot of accessories. I did follow a pattern somewhat that, like, very loosely, that was a pony one, but I did have to add my own things. I gave him an actual neck. I differed with the horn because, you know, he has a red tinted horn, but some of it's gray. I crocheted him a crown, a cape, and I gave him little shoes. And sure, from far away he looks good, but once you get closer, you'll realize his legs aren't sewn on in all the right directions. There's a lot of little strings poking out because I sewed things on the outside when they should have, like, all the stitches should have gone on the inside. There were a lot of mistakes, and you look, his head's really floppy. But I was very proud of it.
Looks like a rhinoceros.
You're a rhinoceros. I'm allowed to critique my work, you're not. But yeah, I was very proud of him at the time, and sometimes I still am. I like him having just for me. I wouldn't sell him, mostly because he's not.
It's better than anything I could ever do.
You made a decent plushie once. But yeah, he was my pride and joy for the longest time. I like him. Then we move on to probably one of my more recent creations, but this was like, I think maybe a year or so ago. The Little Heather, the Heather Blossom plush. The plush that's of my OC. As you can see, she's kind of complex, like Sombra. She has a lot of accessories, but I did a much better job on her. I followed the body pattern of a generic pony pattern online, but I did way better. Like you see, there's no stitches coming out. There's a little fluffle right there, but I crocheted her boots into her legs. I used buttons to represent gems. I even crocheted her sunglasses and her crown, and it came out pretty good. She is my new pride and joy. I even crocheted her cutie mark very well, if I do say so myself. She's got a flowing mane and tail. She is probably my best work to date. And that is basically the timeline of my skill. I think it's really a monument to how far I've come from not even being impatient, learning to just, you know, undo some stitches and keep doing it until I get it right. Even, like, Heather Plush is not perfect, but she is pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. And so that's my blurb. That's this is my panel, and if you have more questions about, like, you know, my experience with crocheting, go on ahead. But, you know, there's more than just me here. I'd like my friends to also talk about their skills and experiences, starting with Brandon, because Brandon, it's much more defined. Why don't you talk about your journey with music, Brandon, a little bit?
So, what I learned recently is that even like looking for my baby books and everything, I'd always been like super big into music, especially when my mom played the piano. I apparently really loved it, and just from there, my mom liked to play in the car music from her era. So that's Beatles, Beatles again, the other bands related to the Beatles, but you understand. So that was the kind of music she liked to play for me. Um, and then that's it. I've just kind of explored more music from there. Kind of kind of I guess I'm trying to look for the word here. Put in a lot of effort into learning as much about music as possible, especially music theory. I've been doing more self-teaching on that. My mom teaches me piano, and so I basically have a free piano teacher.
Well, that helps.
Certainly.
It does, and I, my absolute favorite form of media is music. Heather and Brony can tell you that I'm not a big, I'm not a big movie person, and I don't really watch a lot of TV and movies. To pass the time, I'm always listening to music,
Hmm.
and there's rarely a time I get sick of it. This is, and I know I'm presenting it in kind of like a rough timeline, a rough estimate, but it's in a way you can kind of imagine the progression that I went through.
Yep.
And that is just fine and dandy. Bronny, what about you talk about your skills and experiences? You're a Brony analyst and you started a pretty good live stream called Brony Debates that people tune into all the time and brings up interesting topics. What about you talk about like how this all started your YouTube channel and stuff like that? I'm sure
Well,
people
with
would
my
be.
YouTube channel, what happened was after I got to be a brony, um, let's see, in season three started rolling around, and when season three rolled around, I didn't really have a lot going on in my life. So then what happened was, um, I was just digesting a lot of brony media, animations, art, especially music, especially, and above all, memes. And so everybody was just memeing the crap out of the Crystal Empire, the season three opener, and I thought it was amazing, and I loved King Sombra, I still do. Um, and then this one day I just saw this meme of Patrick. It was the Patrick Go, and he's just standing there menacingly meme. And then Sombra was on the other end of down the street, and I said, "That's it. These people are wrong, and I'm going to tell them about how they're wrong." And I spent the next 3 months um, self-teaching Adobe Premiere, and another one of my friends that I was already friends with for a long time and got me into that had showed me the Brony fandom. An artist by the name of Swift Yuki um, had her teaching me Photoshop, and so once I felt like and I had a grasp on the basics, and I was dead wrong at the time. I wrote a couple of scripts and I started Brony debates, and originally it was all scripted, um, and then I moved into doing episode reactions that were mixed up with clip jokes and things like that. And I called that a buck to the face, and to supplement a buck to the face to talk about the more serious aspect of things was moral of the story. I did that for a few years, and when I finally had some privacy and I sort of lived on my own, I started doing the Brony debates and the Friday night fights live streams. I moved them into a live stream format so that people can leave me topic suggestions, things they want to hear me talk about on Twitter or Tumblr or something like that. And My friends and I pick out the ones we want to talk about, and we talk about them. I usually try to get one of the other analysts in there as well. What can somebody tell me what the heck Heather is doing?
Well, it looks like she just mounted her OC on top of her chair. That's
Yeah.
kind of about it.
Alrighty then. So yeah, and then Friday Night Fights is less serious, just a gaming stream because people like games, and I'm a sellout because I need money.
I just heard her open either a seltzer can or a soda can.
Yeah, we know darn well that's not what it is.
It's rated T for teen, so it is Mike's regular lemonade.
Alrighty then.
It's not.
Yep. So that's everything about the type of content I do. Is there anything else you wanted to know? Wanted me to talk about?
No, I just want people here to get a feel for you. I know everybody, most people here know who you are. Like, how many viewers do we even have right now? Can anyone check the analytics?
13.
Wow, that's more than usual. There's some new faces in here. And there might be another.
And I realized I left out some of my other interests, some other parts of my progression. So if anyone is curious about that, they can also ask.
Oh, so anyways, I think you guys noticed I started crocheting. This is a
Yeah.
project, like I said, this is a stream we do every week, and this is a project I started last week. This is a project to make a sweater for a cat, a very special cat. This cat. Knife, say hello to everybody. And look, another special guest. Oh my god, celebrity appearance, it's Sweetie Blue from TF2 and Alice's Anarchy and all that stuff. Yay! And also that stream, the plug stuff.
Oh, Pathfinder? Yes, I am weekly on the Pathfinder 2, Ponyfinder, excuse me. Ponyfinder 2, Untamed Lands, is on David Silver's channel. We are actually going to be changing to Thursdays now because my day offs have changed again because of the whole COVID nonsense.
Oh,
so,
boy.
yeah, we'll be on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Righteous.
Watch that stuff.
Sweetie, why don't you have any other blurbs you want to tell people? Because we went around the circle here and said a whole bunch of things about ourselves. I showed everyone my past projects.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, I made a Dr. Wolf was my first.
That's hilarious.
I know, I was a big fan of him at the time. And I had King Sombra, Triceratops, and Heather Plush as my most recent.
It's adorable.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones made within the first year that I started crocheting, so I thought it was a good
That's
show.
really good. Like, that's your first year crocheting? That's amazing.
Yeah.
I never got to plushie level when I crocheted. I made
Yeah, you got
scarves.
kitty butt on him. Your butt was right in his face. But yeah, it was. I don't know. Looking back, I see all the obvious mistakes. I see all my mistakes on my
Well,
plushies, but it's gotten a lot
That
better.
means you've gotten better, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, kiddo. I'm not gonna force you, but do try to stay in camera.
I know.
Look.
We have so many people on the panel right now. We have Brandon and Bronny and me and you and somehow Knife. Somehow Knife.
All the most important people.
The most important people in my life. Needs more of
Yep.
Knife. Oh, and I guess
Except,
we could say I have another person in here because there's also. Get your head over here, you dumb fish. Spoon. This is my goldfish, Spoon. He is gonna be 4 years old this year, I think.
That's ancient for a goldfish.
Oh yeah, I got him while I was still working at Taco Bell, which was quite a while ago because I worked at a warehouse 2 years after that, and I've been here a while. So yeah, he's gonna be 4 years old, I think.
Spoon has been through a good amount.
Yeah, he moved from California to Arizona
Yeah.
when he was middle-aged. Or freaking I don't know.
No, when he was ancient even during the move.
Oh yeah, so yeah, he's an old fish who's been through a lot, and if he survives long enough, he's gonna survive more moves.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't go anytime soon. He's been a staple, like he's part of my morning routine. My horn is itchy.
Oh my.
Yeah, I should get that checked.
I don't understand how
probably
that's
got-
possible.
Well,
I hear there were creams for that.
Oh, you're right.
Is it Heather? Is it felt or is it?
It's
It's
I
like
know it's the
plastic, I
plastic
think.
one, isn't it?
yeah, it's the. I think you bought me this one.
Yeah.
You
It
bought
was
me
at
this.
some con. I forget which con.
It was BronyCon, the last BronyCon.
Last BronyCon ever.
So nostalgic. I had fun.
Oh yeah, I
Yep.
loved it. Yeah, great time.
Good times all
Heather.
around. What is it?
Heather, in PG-13 terms, Clayton asked, "You worked at Taco Bell?"
Oh, yes, yes. Of course, everyone has those jobs growing up. I started that job. Oh my god, I can't even remember what year it was. It was at least 3 years ago. I worked at Taco Bell for almost a year. Worst experience of employment. The worst employment I've ever had. It's fast food. You know how it is. The customers are terrible and your managers do not care. I could freaking give you tons of stories of customers just being the most spoiled and terrible people ever. Some of them are just plain awful, some of them are funny. Me and Brandon could go back and forth because he used to work at Burger King.
I could only do a year and 4 months. That was all I could take.
What about you, sweetie? Any fast food?
Fast food? No. I worked at a movie theater though, so I suppose that's the closest I could claim.
Well, you'll have like bad clientele.
I have worse clientele in my current job. I mean, we had a woman nearly run one of our who dumped cats on our doorstep and nearly ran one of our employees over. So you know.
God, yeah. So customers
Jeez.
are always just the worst freaking thing. I'm glad I'm working a job now where I don't deal with them. At least not very often. They try to make me deal with them. Like they like a chicken service transferred, like, because I work at a car dealership up in the office, so I do administrative stuff, so I don't talk to customers, and somehow my job is considered essential, so I'm still working now. But someone in the service department, because that's why we're considered essential, we have a department that maintains cars, because we also have one that sells them. But she tried to get someone to me because I input the warranties, and the person's like, "Why is it my warranty in?" And I'm like, "You bought a car in 2019. I wasn't working there then." It was a whole situation, but the thing is, the service person is not supposed to transfer customers to me because I am not customer service. But yeah, sometimes it's inescapable. But, you know, we've all had that. So, if you're new to the stream, we usually don't even have a part where we talk about ourselves very much or introduce ourselves because this is a LuniCon panel. I felt the need to do so. Had a whole written blurb and everything. You should have been there. You would have given me.
I was only just clocking out of work when you started up.
Yeah, I did not. I thought we were still on Mountain Time here.
No, sweetheart, we're on Pacific time.
Yeah, everyone's ragging on me about it, sweetie. I don't need another, okay?
I posted on my Twitter about how we changed to Pacific time.
You know, I have my notifications on for you. I'm not sure why I wouldn't have saw that.
I don't know.
Or maybe I
that
saw
was
it.
weeks ago, dear heart. That was in March.
Then I probably don't remember. But
That
yeah.
was a month ago. Probably a month ago today. We switched over to Pacific time.
Well, we're here now, and I know now, okay? And
You've
knowing's
been
half the
talking to your
battle.
family. Have you not?
We've not
been
talked
paying
about what time it is. I have noticed that it's like, oh, I wonder why I'm on the phone with mom. Like, I wonder why she's only getting out of work just now. She should be out of work if like she's an hour if she's an hour where I think she is. She should be out of work by now, but she's just getting out now. She must put in long hours. It's just me not asking questions
Yeah,
or connecting the
basically.
dots.
Because I mean, I have to keep track of that because I need to know. Basically, I need to know who I'm in the same time zone of, and it's weird, but this is totally how I judge it. Is like, am I in family time or Silver Quill time? Like that, you know? Do I have to make sure that Silver Quill's not staying up talking to me and he needs to go to bed, or do I have to make sure I'm not disturbing my family when they're still at work? You know?
Yeah, I'll try. So everyone, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try. But yes, so
Well, you won't have to try again until like what, November or something, and then we'll be back in Mountain.
oh, thank God.
Wait, you prefer Mountain time? I guess that does make you ever so slightly closer to your waifu.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, it's still 2,500 miles, but yeah, we
But
do have a
time-wise,
couple
it's
of.
closer.
Yeah.
It's
We
2
do have a
hours
couple
ahead
of new
instead of
people
3.
in the chat. I don't think I've ever seen New Controller 1 join us for a live stream, and we've got Souls X Azrael, who was in the other panels that I was in earlier today.
It might be the person who was messaging me to give them the link to my stream. So at least they both have like
Might-
Asriel profile pictures.
Yeah, it might be. So, yeah, I love how, like, I've been watching Sweetie just handle Knife in the background while you've been crocheting and you two have been talking. Knife doesn't like Sweetie as much as she likes Heather.
Oh, it's very clear. If you don't see it, there's she
Scratches, yeah.
this whole leg.
Yeah. So how that happened was twofold. One, when we first got Knife, Heather had a lot less hours than I did, so she was home a lot more. And we also, not long after we got her, she was on medication. So Heather was the one around and giving her attention, and I was the evil person who came home and shoved pills down her throat. So
It's such an unfortunate situation.
So I always say, like, financially, or at least like by her microchip, Knife is my cat, but emotionally she's Heather's cat.
Emotionally.
And if and when the time comes when you and your wife will move in together, I'll have to call the microchip company and switch it up so that she's registered under your name.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still the alternate contact, so if she were to ever go missing, like, my phone number would be the first they call, but if they can't get in contact with me, they call you second.
You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere.
I honestly, like, if she were to get out, I'd mostly be concerned about her getting to my work and then me being the laughing stock of my coworkers. It's like, someone lost their cat, dumbass.
This girl.
Just like
Oh,
one of my
thank God this cat has a chip. Let's just run the number on this chip. Your phone, your
yeah,
pocket
exactly.
starts
My
vibrating.
stuff. It would. Well, no, it would. The thing is, if they were to scan her for a chip, it would immediately come up as mine because I adopted her from PAC. So immediately the microchip, if they entered it in the computer, would come up as, you know, owner, my real name, insert my real name here. You know, and they'd be like, oh my God. Then they'd be like, so, they probably, I bet you anything, they'd call me and they'd be like, so ma'am, it seems that we have found a cat. Its microchip is registered to you. I'd be like, oh God damn it.
And you're like, Debbie, I'm 3 feet behind you.
Exactly right. God damn it.
Knife's like, good, I'm gonna run away right
yeah,
now.
she ran away. I think I laughed too loud. For her. She's like,
I'm just like picturing a collective knee slap from every employee in the shelter.
basically. I mean, we make fun of each other all the time. For instance, one of my coworkers brought in a stray, and we haven't let her live it down yet. We're like, what are you doing bringing in strays? She's like, I'm sorry. And then when she was here, she like went behind the desk to try and basically help book in the animal. And I was like, excuse you, ma'am, you're not allowed behind the desk. Just shut up.
That's hilarious.
Thinking of strays makes me think of that friendly kitten that was in the apartment complex.
We are no longer taking healthy stray cats at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's understandable.
If you find a healthy stray cat, put it back where you found it. If it's
yeah.
injured or ill, okay, bring it in. If it's under 8 weeks old, don't bring it in at all. Just leave it be.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen that cat. It's gotta be older by
Sweetie and her co-workers are out there, practicing for the company musical. Put that thing back where it came from,
or so help me. Exactly.
That's my favorite reaction image. Every time someone puts something on Twitter that slightly disturbs me, I'm just like, put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
So help me, and cut.
I love that so much. There's so many good memes that came out of Monsters Inc. Like, if you're gonna threaten me, do it properly.
Right? First of all, it's creepy.
How about the theme song in general? That's a meme.
Smashing comes Bedburg. I love that. I loved that so much, and I didn't know why.
It's perfect though. It's just non sequitur.
Oh my god.
That's something I would do. I would kick down a door wearing a Big Bird costume or some kind
You
of
do
costume.
a lot of stuff that's questionable at best.
Well, you know what, Brony? Now you have to do it.
Yeah, maybe the next time I go to a convention, King Somber will kick down a door.
Well, you're gonna have to
As
find
long
a door
as you
that
don't
will
do
let
it
you.
literally, because you will not be invited to that convention again.
Yeah, and Brownie,
Or
you
that
actually,
hotel or
you
convention
actually
center.
will.
Yeah,
break
you
down
might
that door.
actually break the door, and you might actually have to pay for that door when you do.
Yeah, you know,
Well,
especially with
that's
those
what they did-
shoes.
That's what they did in that video. They broke that door clean off the hinges, and they were like, "Oh my god."
He was in a sad state of affairs at that point in time.
Yeah, that was 2000. That was 2013, and and it was like, yeah, that was a very bad time in my life, uh, and I was super stressed, no money, hungry, really bad job, and I'm like, okay, at least I can watch season 3 of Friendship is Magic close out and get my ponies in and relax a little bit before I have to go try to sell pictures in a nightclub, which is not a good job. And
So hold on. The headbutting situation was because of Princess Twilight?
yes. So then I watched
just
this
because
episode.
she got a crown doesn't mean you need to break yours.
No, that's definitely what it means.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so it was just such a bad episode, and now I'm like, where it was supposed to calm me down, now I'm just like 3 times as stressed as I already was, and now I have to go to work and just dreading that. So I try to leave my apartment with all my gear, and the door just for whatever reason didn't close when I pulled it closed, and that was just like the last straw. And I just went, "Rah!" and I headbutted the freaking thing out of anger, and it just boom right off the hinges, just clean off the hinges,
Talk
right
about
through the
hard-headed.
molding, and I was like,
Not that one.
so,
Yeah.
Not that one.
So it couldn't have been a brand
It
new
was
door because it was
maybe
messing up.
wasn't my best
So wait,
word.
how old was the door?
I don't know. It's a Floridian apartment building. It could have been anywhere between 5 and 90 years old.
Yo, while Princess Twilight did bad things for you, it did wonderful things for me. It made me the princess I am today.
That and stealing brownies wings.
It gave
Yeah,
me
you went-
permission.
You went the Digibrony route of, oh, if Twilight can be a princess, then I can be a princess too. So I am a princess, and we're all just like, no, that's not how it works.
Yes, it is, 'cause I am.
Part of me wanted to make a joke of like having my OC turn to an alicorn, and then it's like, oh, are you a princess? It's like, no, I'm an animation glitch.
Yeah. That's happened so many times. Some of it's like very blatant too, wasn't it? In like the Golden Horseshoe Girls, like the guy who was doing the lights was doing it with his unicorn horn magic, but he also had wings, and he's just like, I'm just an alicorn.
Yeah, and there was a
How did I
time where
miss that
Rarity
one?
was a alicorn for a second.
As she
and-
deserves to be.
Yeah.
She would make a beautiful alicorn. The most beautiful.
I've made the joke a couple of times where somebody were to turn me into an alicorn, I would just end up looking like a unicorn, and
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
even angrier about it.
Well, you can magic yourself wings now.
I mean, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there
Yeah,
was
there's wings for there's like wing spells for that, but yeah. How's your sweater coming along, Heather?
It's coming along pretty good. Still got a couple rounds, and this is just gonna make the basic body. And then you gotta make armholes.
I'm trying to look for my. Do you remember the OC I made?
Yes, I
What?
know, because I had to draw it. It looked terrible.
Yeah.
Has a
It was
potato block
great.
mustache and a
I-
goatee that's this long.
Oh god.
I went
It's
into the
ugly.
creator, and I was like, how can I make the least appealing color scheme possible?
Red and black.
And it actually took a decent amount of
No,
effort, but I think
Navy
I got
blue
it.
green, lime green.
Yeah, it's like gray and dark navy blue and with like lime neon green sprinkled throughout it. And then it's got this Fu Manchu with a goatee and glasses.
Bronny, the OC that came up for you when you hit randomize, you should put that in the chat. Just in the chat.
Oh gosh, I wish I could. I wonder.
But we're
I
not gonna
wonder
do
if
the
I can.
OC I made for
I'll
Brandon.
find it. I'll find it.
I made Brandon an alicorn OC. Because
Nice.
why should I be the only one? And I just made him like very emo looking. Because Dark Prince of Emo.
There you go.
Because it made sense. Mine was the
There's a-
most appealing to look at out of this freaking batch.
There's a backstory behind the name Dark Prince of Emo.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Funny enough.
Is anyone gonna ask Brandon about it?
Apparently not.
Oh
Is anyone gonna ask me?
no. Ask him
Nope.
about it.
Please, someone ask me.
Ask me about my pony Sona.
No, please.
Ask me what it means. Ask me what it means.
Come on.
Yeah, so I just put a Dropbox link in the chat there.
Did I miss it?
Can I just say,
There it is.
as excited as I was to finally be able to make next gens for you guys, it was one of the most boring next gen projects I'd had because gosh damn it, you guys are both just brown, different shades of brown.
That's racist. That's racist.
I was like, I could have, because usually I make like 3 kids or something, and the whole spectrum. Like I can really only make 1. Like just brown horse. That's all I can make.
Let's be fair. If I ever even considered it, I'd probably only have 1.
I mean, I'm a one
Well,
of those 3.
Well, if an alicorn mates with a Pegasus, then odds are, just go hit the
goes-
randomize button
Well,
on the
no.
Pony Creator and you'll get something.
Well, no, because I logic that if she ascended, I figured that the dominant gene would actually be the Pegasus gene. You know, and I figured that actually if you guys were to have kids, there would probably be very few alicorns, if any. And especially since at the time, I don't think Flurry Heart was a thing, so whether or not alicorns were born at all was still up in the air. So I figured that just be Pegasi. And so, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a part of me's like, maybe I should try drawing one, but I'm like, not interested in the project.
No, it's okay. We got Mocha. I'm just saying, like...
You named it Mocha.
Yes, we named it Mocha because it looked like a coffee cup.
You know what? You should have called it Mocha Crunch.
Sure. You can. That could be the last name.
I think that's a good name for it, Mocha Crunch. It's kind of like Buck, but Crunch. And
Okay.
Mocha, you know what? Its special talent's gonna be frickin' coffee.
I mean, not necessarily. It could be chocolate.
Could be chocolate. It would be a
Could be
disgrace
chocolate
to us.
coffee.
Because me and Bronny are both people that don't drink coffee. I mean, I drink it once in a while, but it's basically milkshake at the point I drink it.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. And
it's like it's a coffee flavored sugar milk, really.
Oh yeah. And so, like, if we had a child whose special talent was making coffee, it'd be like, good for you,
Good
I
for you.
guess.
Well, so like, why do your parents necessarily have to partake in what you do?
Yeah, well, it's like, we support you. Somebody who's like, but you don't like coffee.
Don't like coffee.
It's like,
Well, then that will just encourage your child to make friends,
yeah.
so that the friends can help them taste their new coffee.
My son's gonna work at Starbucks. Son, make me a strawberry cream. He's like, there's no coffee in that. I want a strawberry cream.
My
Frappuccino.
little brother worked at a Starbucks. He wouldn't recommend it.
Does he still work there or no? Oh, yeah, that's not
No.
essential. My bad.
No, he doesn't work there anymore.
My sister way long ago worked at a Starbucks, and my other sister way long ago worked at, was it Coffee Bean? Coffee Bean. So it was sort of a joke that I had to work at some other coffee shop. Never did, but
You probably saved yourself.
yeah. It was just a joke. It's like, no, it's okay. You don't have to work at a coffee shop. It's okay. Another job they both had was like at a particular shoe store. It was like, there's like a kid's shoe store in the mall. Both of them worked there at the same time as well. And there's like, oh, you have to start there. I'm like, how about no? Not that really my own start was any better, but girl, don't die.
I'm chugging. Excuse me.
Hmm.
Alicorn burp.
Which is
So
somehow superior to my
Heather,
own.
teach us how to crochet.
Boy, I'm in the middle of the project. I can't teach you how to crochet from here. I'd want to start from the beginning. If you want, I can pull out some yarn, and I can show you kind of how all of it gets started.
Well, or you could do this. How about you tell everyone the story behind your project? Other than, of course, you want to make knife look cute.
Okay, so I didn't have my license until January of this year. Late in January of this year. So this one has had to escort me everywhere for like, how many months, sweetie?
9-ish? Because it would May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January 9.
9. She's had to escort me for 9 months. And so, like around later that year, when she got a nice spanking new car and got
Because
it.
my old one, we won't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. Don't ask her about that car. So she's got a grand spanking new car, and also we waited for the plates for it to come in, which they dropped the ball on your plates.
They did.
Yeah, because they got me my plate pretty quick.
Yeah, it was. I forget what the issue was. I think like they put the wrong zip code on my address, so like none of the things they sent me actually got through. And I didn't mind it much at first until like I realized that I hadn't been making my car payments because of that. And so like I contacted, you know, the bank that my payments are supposed to go to, and I'm like, look, I would have made them on time, but the stupid dealership, you know, didn't send me where I, you know, the information that I needed to give you the money. And, you know, and I was ready to fight. I was like, all right, you know, I don't want to get charged all these late fees because the dealership dropped the ball. You know, but they're like, oh, yeah, I see, they put in the wrong zip code. Yeah, it's okay, just pay us with, you know, your normal stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, the thing with it here is you can't take a driver's test until you have, like, a license plate, and then you gotta enter it and all this stuff.
Mhm.
So, it was in December where I started taking the tests. December, right?
Sure.
December. Yeah, so I failed my first two, and then we go in for the third try in January, and I'm driving with this lady. She takes me out driving for 5 minutes. She's like, okay, turn in here, and I know this turn. I'm like, she's taking me back to the DMV. I don't even know what I did wrong this time. And then she pulls over, and she goes like, okay, you passed. And I'm like, you sure? You were driving with me for 5 minutes. But yeah, that's all it takes, apparently. You just have to last 5 minutes. So, I got my license. We celebrated with crepes at Denny's back when you could go to a restaurant. So long ago. And I got my license, and she picked me up from work that day and bought me this crochet kit that had sweaters for cats.
Yeah, so basically I went to kill some time because it was my day off. I went to the Barnes & Noble, and I saw it, and I was like, I shouldn't be feeding her addiction. But I was like, but at the same time, she did get her license. I should be nice.
And the next day, I got a car.
Yes, which was very fast. I appreciate it. And like the funny thing is, we were going back and forth about what kind of car she wanted, and she's like, I want this kind of car. I'm like, I don't know about that. I want this kind of car. I don't know about that. And then she told me about the one she has now, and I'm like, get that one. I was like, get that. Put your name down now.
Ronnie
like, I don't have my license yet. Just buy the car.
Ronnie was telling me to wait. He was telling me to wait. He's like, no, maybe late, sell something. I'm like, no, don't wait. A salesman was trying to sell that car.
Yeah, no, because I was telling you to wait with the cars you were telling me about. It's like, how about this one that's like 7 years old? I'm like,
I was looking at them that way because they were
They were cheaper, yeah. And I was like, okay, it'll be cheaper, but you'll also only have the car for a short amount of time before it breaks down on you, you know?
Yeah, and so, like, you know, I got a reasonable car that's a 2017 Hyundai, and Hyundai's reputable. In 2017, that's not super old.
2017, yeah, it was just
I don't, it's only like a 5% interest fee.
Yeah, it was really reasonably priced. Yeah, so I was like, get it.
Yeah, 29 miles per gallon. You know, when I only have to fill it up every 2 weeks, and it's only like $20 and even cheaper now.
Oh yeah,
gas prices are
it's
down.
rare. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I got something that you know just works, and it's a cute little red car.
It's a very cute little red car.
I haven't taken you driving in it yet. I'll have to once we have a place to
Once
go.
we can go somewhere.
We can't go see Mulan.
Nope. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, so much for Mulan.
If it comes on Disney whatever,
Plus?
yeah, Disney Plus, let me know. I want to
Okay.
watch it.
Okay. I still have to see Onward. That only just got added to Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, tell me if it's good.
I hear it's good from other people. That probably is.
It probably is.
Oh yeah, Bronny is a very big fan of Disney. He just absolutely loves Disney.
Yeah,
Don't
so
you love
much.
Disney, Bronny?
No.
His favorite character is Prince Charming from Snow White.
Yeah, I am
and,
Prince Charming from Snow White.
So
Him and I look
charming.
exactly alike.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were Gaston.
He is Gaston, actually.
He is kind of Gaston, not gonna lie.
Ronnie, sing the song.
When I was a lad, I'd eat 4 dozen eggs every morning to help me get large. But
Yeah.
now that I've grown, I'll eat 5 dozen eggs, so I'm roughly the size of a bird. I dropped that last note so hard.
It was pretty hard. Come on, get to the chorus. Get to the chorus.
Technically,
chorus
Gaston
isn't sang
doesn't
by
sing the
Gaston.
chorus.
The
Yeah.
But
chorus
I
is
like
sang
the
by
chorus.
everybody involved.
You'll just have to be his LaFou.
Oh yeah, they're romantically involved in some iterations.
Well, yeah, in the iteration we don't talk about.
Tumblr.
In all the iterations that are wrong.
No one did. I like the way it sounds. I don't remember the words. Bronny, just do what they did in the Beauty and the Beast live action movie and have me on one shoulder and some other bitch on the other. Yes, I know you didn't like that.
No, I didn't like a lot of things from that adaptation. Though, to be fair, LeFou was the least problematic of it.
That whole sequence of Gaston was nice. I liked it.
It was fine. The problem is the parts that were passable were still inferior in quality to the original film.
Absolutely.
I was like, okay, this is alright, but you know what's better? The animated film.
I want to see the stage play of Beauty and
Oh,
the
the
Beast
stage play is
Gaston.
great. Oh, the stage play is great.
I want to see it.
Okay, like, here's the thing. Here's a little known fact. I'm actually not a huge fan of the movie, the animated film even, of Beauty and the Beast. I acknowledge that it's a fantastic film. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, you're wrong. It's a fantastic film. It's just not one of my favorites. But I love the stage play. Like, everything I didn't like about the film is fixed in the stage play, and I love it. Like, basically there are two main things. One, I feel like Belle didn't have a story arc in the animated film, and that bothered me. And two, I didn't feel like their romance had a story arc. Like, I just didn't buy the romance. I bought, okay, now we're friends, and then I'm like, okay, when did the romance come in? Like, I understand at first she hates his guts, and then he kind of grows on her enough. It's like, okay, you know what? We can coexist. Where did that pass the line into romance? It never clicked for me. The stage play fixed that in two different ways. One actually is in a song. They tried to add it to the animated film and it didn't really work because they did it wrong. But the song "Human Again," in the middle of the song, there's a sequence where Belle is reading to the Beast because, little known fact, he's illiterate. Which is something they realize he doesn't know how to read. So she's like, oh, well, then I'll read this book to you because it's a really good book and I think you should read it and know it. And he gets drawn into it and he's like, wow, this is so amazing. I didn't know books were so amazing to help you forget what you are, you know? And she's like, you know what? That's something that we have in common is, you know, that we're seen as outcasts and, you know, and that these fantasy books are an escape from the outcast nature of both of them. And so they connected on that level. I'm like, there it is! There's the romance! Like, that's all I needed. Just that little spark of actually connecting as human beings and not, I guess we can coexist and barely manage to eat together. The other thing with Belle, there was just one song that just made Belle's character all better, which was, actually, I'm forgetting the name of the song. Is This Home, I think? And it's reprised later on in the movie to great effect. But basically, she chastises herself for her whole opening number of, like, oh, is it this provincial life all I'll ever know type of thing. And then she becomes a prisoner in Beast Castle, and as soon as she does, she has a song being like, oh yeah, oh, I was such a fool for not wanting that provincial life. Here I am now, you know, dead inside because I'm a prisoner and I'm never gonna see my family again. Bravo, Belle. You know, for like why did I complain about that old provincial town? And then of course it turns around later, because she's like, is this home? Is this where I must learn to be happy? And then later on, of course, after she falls in love with the Beast, she's like, this is home. This is where I have learned to be happy. You know, and it's like, yes, she has a character arc. Just made everything better.
Indeedly.
And then it was all ruined by the live action. But at least they did keep in them having a connection in the live action film. It was one good thing I could see about the live action film.
Live action retroactively ruin the other two iterations?
No. And that's what I think people like who chastise the live action films too much. I'm sort of like, you know, they're like, you ruined my childhood. I'm like, they didn't ruin your childhood. Your childhood's still there. It's still intact. You still have, if anything, when the live action films come out, so do the animated films. And my kitchen is filled with Disney geek stuff because they come back out when the live action films come in. You know, I wasn't a huge fan of live action Aladdin, but you know what? I've got a magic rug in my kitchen, and the only reason I have that is because the live action film came out, and Aladdin merchandise from the animated film started coming out again. You know, so I'm like, they're not ruining your childhood. They're exploiting your childhood. I'll fully give you that, but they're not ruining it. They're not taking it away from you.
That's a fair point. Which is why I don't look to the live action films with like disgust, like, ugh, here it comes again, coming in to cash in on stuff. I'm just like, yeah, maybe, but you know, there'll probably be a nugget of something in there that's interesting to look at.
Sometimes there's a nugget of something. Usually not. I'm for the most part I don't like them, but
How about we tune into the chat? We haven't read off any comments, Brandon, Bronny.
Yeah, they've been chatting. I mean, I'd have to scroll all the way back up to the beginning to find any like questions or anything.
Well, why don't we stick to what's most recent?
yeah, let's go backwards.
Or forwards
I
time?
found something. Magorna says I can attest. Bronny is in fact very much a Disney fan and has Black Cauldron as his favorite movie.
Black Cauldron's awesome.
I definitely I haven't seen Black Cauldron, which I'm sure.
No, actually, it's a pretty
it's a cult classic.
cult classic of the Disney films.
I
yes.
have
My favorite Disney movie is The Secret of Nim because I've never seen it.
That's
It's not a Disney film. That's why he knows that and he's trying to annoy me.
Bronny, I will destroy you and everything you love, which means me, and you don't want that. I will
destroy you and steal your fiance. Booty, rocket everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So what were you saying? Your favorite?
I do like what the Disney parks have done with Black Cauldron. Have you seen that video of like the animatronic of the Horned King that they had in Japan? It was one of the best. It looked so cool because there was this thing called Cinderella's Castle Tour, but it got hijacked by villains, and you just it's a walkthrough where you go through like Maleficent's lair.
Nice.
And I forget what other villains were involved, but at the end it would be the Horned King in like a corner of the room lit up, and he'd just be like, I've trapped all of you and now you'll all join my army of the dead. And they'll get a sword and hand it to like a kid or something, like the tour guide, and the tour guide would be like, quick, use your magic sword and destroy the Horned King. And it was so
cute.
cool.
That's awesome.
Saw the whole thing and I'm like, damn, that animatronic is so freaking rad.
Yeah, I imagine.
It was great. But yeah. I've been on a stint of just looking up animatronics, and it just brings you back to the Disney parks.
Because literally Walt Disney invented animatronics.
He did.
Yeah, so we're getting a slew of favorite Disney movies in the chat here.
Disney fans everywhere.
Pristine hates Black Cauldron.
Aww.
But thinks it had an awesome villain.
He was.
I feel like the most legitimate complaint about Black Cauldron is that it isn't faithful to the book, which I can only partially attest to because I did have the book series, but if I read it, I don't remember if I did. I know I owned it. I know it was in my little mini library in my room. I remember very little about it. So I know that a lot of people who did love and read the series are like, oh, it's so inaccurate, which is valid criticism. So I'll give you that if that's the complaint.
But Pristine's favorite Disney movie is Robin Hood.
That's nice.
Which one?
That's a good point.
Live action or
Clayton's
animated?
favorite Disney movie is the original Peter Pan.
It's a pretty good one.
Countess Rose says The Emperor's New Groove is awesome, and I actually agree. I do enjoy The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, it's really good. It's very different from most of the standard Disney stuff, which is actually what makes it really good.
Yeah, sometimes I gotta remember that it's Disney.
I love The Emperor's New Groove.
The funny thing is, it was the start of sort of animated comedy. I feel and I say the start because guess what movie came out right after The Emperor's New Groove? Somebody once told me, right after The Emperor's New Groove, Shrek came out, and that was the whole thing, is animated comedy.
You remember that series? I'm trying to remember. Emperor's New School or something?
Emperor's
like
New
that?
School, yes. I didn't watch a lot of that, but I didn't like the fact that Kuzco was straight, because y'all know he's gay.
Yeah.
You cannot watch that movie and tell me he's not gay.
Yeah. No, you can't watch that series and think he's not at least bisexual at the very least. Because,
right?
he mostly tries to get with Melina in a kind of of superficial way.
Very superficial way. Yeah, but
And he's like, nah, I'm the king, and so that means I'm the most popular in school, and she's the most popular girl in school, so this makes sense.
yeah,
You know, hiding the gay.
hiding gay. Yes.
No,
I'm not saying he's gay
no.
for Pacha.
Double no.
I don't want to say he's.
Yikes.
Yeah, yikes.
And let,
Yeah,
and
no,
let me
it's
guess, you have a great
It's
personality.
hate. No, it's hate your hair. Yikes, and let me guess, you have a great personality. I'm like, he's so flaming. I'm not saying he's gay for Pacha. I don't ship that.
No,
Well,
I
for
don't
one
ship.
thing, Pacha's married because it's so ill, and also age gap. But he's clearly gay.
I don't know. Him and Kronk, maybe they're stupid enough for each other.
Don't feel like Cusco could ever respect Kronk.
That's true. There is no one in the world good enough for Cusco.
He could die a spinster. I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah, just to be an old aging queen.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Age with grace.
Oh, he would.
Emily Maloney wants to know what our favorite Marvel movies are, and Buck and 5 wants to know what your horn and wings are made out of.
Felt and feel that. What does that feel
It's
like?
like foam of some sort.
Foam and felt. I didn't make these. I bought them. I bought all this stuff. This horn, I guess, is made of fiberglass or something. Ow.
Some variety of plastic, it looks like.
And this crown is made out of wire. This I specifically commissioned because it looks a bit more like my crown. The actual crown my OC wears. At least it's shaped that way. I don't know if I'll ever get a solid gold one. But you can dream, Heather.
Emerald Spencer says Cusco is the best Disney princess, and Souls Azriel says I'll have to remember these and attend the stream more often.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
But
As
yeah,
you should.
what's your favorite Marvel movie?
Well, you go first. I don't think.
I'll have to think about it. I mean, I was a sucker for Endgame. I mean, I hate to be basic, but it was pretty darn awesome.
I have Iron Man got me into the Marvel universe. That was I didn't really care about superheroes before I watched the first Iron Man movie, and I was just like, he's so cool. This might actually be cool. And I got into DC and Marvel, and I watched a whole bunch of Batman, and I'm like, that's cool.
You didn't see Batman before Iron Man? Oh God.
I went back.
The
and
children
watched
of today.
it. I know, but I went back and watched it.
Oh well, I can at least attest to that.
I watched the Batman original animated series. I watched Batman Beyond. I watched, I think you've seen I have a couple of Batman movies. Batman Assault on Arkham, Batman Under the Red Hood, which is my favorite Batman movie of all time because Red Hood is the most awesome. It's so yeah, I got heavily into superheroes after that, but I did also like Black Panther.
Did like Black Panther.
And if you've noticed on my car, I have a whole bunch of Black
You
Panther
do have a lot of
stickers.
Black Panther stuff. Yeah.
Like a Black Panther sticker on the hub on the.
She's got her
gas cap.
car is Hello Kitty and Black Panther, and it's just an interesting blend of aesthetic.
I found a sticker that was Hello Kitty dressed as Black Panther. Have you seen it?
I have, yes.
She was. It exists, and they have Hello Kitty dressed as all the Avengers.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I want to get every single one of those
dear
and
God.
put them on my car. Just put them across the trunk.
My favorite Marvel movie is the one where they have all the superheroes, and then the camera zooms in, and the one superhero is like, "I'm superhero."
Yes, Brandon, we know. You're not
It
stressed.
was
For
so cool.
me-
I'm a superhero.
I actually.
Brandon, go back to playing Billy Joel music.
Absolutely not.
I actually I got into the MCU. I started on the first Avengers movie, and it was I was in college and we were going on. There was we're all gonna go see the Avengers movie. Come with us, and I was like, sure, knowing full well I'd not seen any of the films prior, and I'd probably be completely lost. But I mean, I got sucked into it. There were a lot of inside jokes that went right over my head, but I was still like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I think actually the number one inside joke that went over my head the most was when a certain character dies, the entire theater goes, no! I'm like, oh, were we supposed to care about him? I mean, I sort of did, but I didn't, the end of the world care about him. Okay.
He was a sweet.
He was, yeah, I was like, he was nice, and that sucks that he's dead, but everyone was like, no! I'm like, oh, okay.
I like Ultimate Spider-Man was not a popular Spider-Man cartoon. In fact, it's very, very bad. But I watched it and I enjoyed it to a degree. And they made that guy Cole principal of Spider-Man's school, and it was all because Spider-Man is now kind of being trained by S.H.I.E.L.D. because S.H.I.E.L.D. is like, you're a hero and we should keep an eye on you and we'll train you so you can be an even better hero. And, Nick Fury already knew his secret identity, and Cole was put in charge of his school, so, that kind of makes things easier. If he suddenly has to dip, the
I mean, that's
principal's
fair.
just like,
Principal's like,
that's cool.
come to my office for a second. Yeah. So, actually, I lied. Actually, the first movie I saw was the Thor movie, and the reason I saw that one was because it was directed by Kenneth Branagh.
Ooh.
If I ain't a nerd.
Did you like it?
Oh, I loved it.
My mom got into the MCU after that one.
Well, yeah. I mean, my mom was the same way. She was like, I hear that there's some movie directed by Kenneth Branagh. I must watch it. Mom, it's a superhero movie. It's not Shakespeare. I must watch it anyway. She didn't really get into the universe after that, but at least she gave it a shot.
Oh, my mom doesn't know directions. She just knew that she saw a half-naked, dirty blonde man in it.
Yeah, see, I felt kind of bad, but I didn't at the same time, because I'm sitting there like, this is complete, like, when he takes off his shirt and he's walking around shirtless, I'm just like, this is complete fan service, and I'm not complaining.
Clayton says, shush, we don't talk about Ultimate Spider-Man.
Shut up, Clayton. They had Deadpool in it. Clean Deadpool, which is still like he kills, but they wouldn't let him kill. Like, Spider-Man stopped him. But yeah, so, my mom's super into Thor. I don't know if she's seen, Endgame, but I don't think she's gonna be happy to know he got fat.
I actually, okay, my reaction was this, seeing him, I was like, no! Your hair!
That's the problem!
That was the problem! The movie before, he had, like, this cool, like, they cut off his hair, and it was this cool buzz cut, and he could not have looked more attractive. And then he goes and gets dreadlocks. And I'm like, no! And everyone's like, oh, he got fat. I'm like, I couldn't care less. He has dreadlocks.
My mom
ruins the whole thing.
My mom also liked that movie where he's got his hair cut. She's like, did you hear what he said? He was just like, no, please, sir.
No,
don't
please,
cut my
sir.
hair."
I actually felt that in that moment. I felt bad that I was excited that he was getting his hair cut. I'm like, yes, cut his hair. And he's like, please, sir, don't cut my hair. I'm like, aw. But no, cut his hair, though.
Wait, was that the part where the superhero was like, hey guy, I'm superhero.
Shut up, Brandon. You're not involved in the conversation anymore.
Superhero.
Sweetie, you just gotta, like, come to terms that people look better with long hair.
No. Women look better with long hair. Men.
I thought Thor looked better with long hair.
No, he did not.
I'll take Thor in any shape.
No, I'm sorry. I tolerated him with the shoulder length nonsense. I was happier when it got cut off, and I was devastated when he got white man dreadlocks. That was horrifying. Even the beard was too much. And you know me, well, actually, that's not true. I prefer stubble over to full-on beards, but no. I really could not care less if he was fat. In fact, I
know
actually
Bronny
thought...
likes to keep his hair short.
Yeah, exactly.
Short.
Exactly.
Almost.
See?
I know Brandon's a man who likes to play the piano. Buckin wants to know if any of us have seen the Little Mermaid TV series.
Yeah,
I've seen
back
a bit of it.
when it aired. That's how old I am.
I saw reruns. Wasn't there a boy mermaid they kind of shipped her with?
I think there was.
I'm like, you ain't
Which
in
was
love with her.
stupid, because I'm like, but the movie. We're just going to assume she just leaves this poor guy high and dry?
Yes.
Okay.
Emerald Spencer says Brandon is being unbelievably cringy right now.
That's what I'm going for.
He totally is.
And Countess Rose also prefers long-haired Thor.
How dare. Where?
It depends on who wears it for me sometimes.
No. There's never a time where long hair is better. Never.
New Controller 1 wants to know if we've seen the anime or the manga of Cardcaptor Sakura.
Yes! Both! But especially the anime. But only in Japanese. So I appreciate that you said Cardcaptor Sakura and not Cardcaptors. Because Cardcaptors, I won't say sucked. Because there's a little bit of my childhood in there.
Each
I'm
card
fond of
possesses
the,
a power of its own. We have
you
to find them to bring the
power
power home.
home. Yes.
Ronnie,
the
why do you
theme
know
song.
that? You hate
Because
anime.
he grew up in the... It was one of those animes like Pokemon and Sailor Moon and stuff that was on TV.
And they just had that
Listen,
catchy
I
beat.
don't
it has
remember ever
catchy
watching that show,
Like, he
but that
probably
song...
He probably didn't remember the song at all, but yeah, it's like... Card captors of the cloud, expect the unexpected now. The secrets of the cloud were all a mystery. But when that mighty book was opened, the powers were set free. Card captors, a mystic adventure. Card captors, a quest for all time. Each card possesses a power of its own. We've got to find them to bring the power home. Yeah.
You know, I don't think I ever actually watched that show, but for some reason, as soon as I read Card Captors, that song hit me like a PTSD flashback.
Yeah, the dub sucks, except for the theme song.
Well,
But the
yeah,
original
that's because it was
Japanese
done by
is good.
4Kids, and
Yeah, it was 4
you know,
Kids.
mirrored by DJ Skywalker here. I saw DJ Skywalker says I saw the 4Kids version. Does that count?
No. The answer is no. You really missed a lot by watching the dub. Literally, you did, because like half of the season, like half of the episodes you didn't even see, and the ones you did.
I watched the dub while eating some delicious jelly donuts. There's
Yeah.
nothing better than a jelly-filled donut, sweetie.
It didn't have. That was not the problem that. Well, it's okay. The problem that the dub had really was Sakura, that kind of thing. And her last name was Avalon, if I remember correctly, rather than actually I don't remember what it was. Obviously, something far more Japanese. And there was, let's just say, there was a lot of LGBTQ in the original anime that was obviously stricken from the record when brought to America. So yeah, a lot of that.
Alrighty then.
Which meant
So,
that flat out episodes were dropped, and then you were just supposed to expect that they happened, I guess.
Jordan Miller wants to know how I became a brony, and I could answer that question myself, but I'd rather have Brandon tell the story of how I became a brony.
What?
Brandon, tell the chat, tell everybody the story of how I became a brony.
Let me see. I'm sure I've got that written down.
For the sole reason that you don't actually know how I became a brony. I want to hear you tell the story of how I became a brony.
All right. So, how I like to imagine it going is that Brawny was just really down on his luck.
I mean, that's the start of most Brawny stories, so it's good.
I am a man of constant sorrow.
And there he sat on his bed, just narrating his story of constant sorrow.
There you go. So
And
he was
he
part
just-
of the
he
Soggy
just
Bottom
kept-
Boys.
Ew.
He kept singing to exhaustion, and he went to sleep. And he had this vision. This vision told him that he would tune in one day and he would find this show, this nondescript show. And he didn't know what it was. Before he could ask any more questions, the vision just vanished. Although he could recall, it seemed vaguely lavender in color. And he had this all the way back in, he had this vision back in the year, I want to say 1962 or something.
Not bad, yes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And so, one day, sitting around his 12-inch TV screen, I'm pretty sure that's the size that most American houses had back at that time. And there was this nice little show that came on. And he recognized the color. And then he was like, wait a minute. I saw that in my dream. Or a vision. Wait, which one is it again? And then the
Yes.
title came up. And it said, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. And he saw it. And he was like, well, I for one prefer Black Cauldron, but you know what, this is pretty fine too. Hey, and I guess you could say the rest is history. He's been a brony for about 40 plus years, and he's still going. Still going. It's 40 plus years of straight dairy.
Well, there was no conflict, there was no rising action or falling action, there was no character arcs. So I give it a 3 out of 10, but good effort. I admire the effort.
Well, there was a conflict. You were down on your luck.
Watch it, and when I did, this happened to it, and it
that nothing has ever changed about that.
It's Ronnie's fault. He's not gonna watch it.
Oh, then there's no rising
Absolutely
and
his
falling
fault.
action.
Which is sad. I like that hat.
Exactly. So
It
you're
was
bad at
adorable.
telling stories. No, what happened was, I was hanging out and doing. I think I was doing schoolwork, and my friend, an artist by the name of Swift Yuki, um, who I'd been friends with for a few years at that point, just came up to me and was like, "Hey, I made an animated meme," and it was like she had taken a clip from one of the episodes, and I can't remember which one, but this was back like in December 2010, so it must have been very early. Um, and had like redrawn it with dragons, and I'm like, "What the heck is this sound clip from? It's annoying as heck." And she goes, "It's from My Little Pony, and now you must watch an episode." And I'm like, "Well, television is mind poison," and I thoroughly believed that at the time. At that time, I hadn't watched TV in like 3 or 4 years, and I was like, "Television is mind poison." She's like, "No, just freaking watch it." I'm like, "Fine, for the purpose of proving you wrong." And then I watched it. I
And
watched
then
the
he
first
became a
couple of
brony.
episodes, and I was like, "Well, shoot, there's nothing wrong with this. I guess I'll keep watching it." And then I kept watching it, and that was pretty much it. I was a very casual fan up until 2012, when I actually like got into the fandom. You know, before that it was just watch the episodes when they came out and look at the memes.
It's funny because I'm saying this because you mentioned memes. That's kind of how I got into it at first. Back in like
Mhm.
2012, I don't remember the name of the website. I think it was Cheeseburger, but except cheese
I can
is
has
spelled wrong.
cheeseburger. I can has cheeseburger.com. I love I can has cheeseburger.
Yeah,
Sure,
they got that My Little Brony section that makes everything so much easier.
Yeah, that's kind of where I first saw it. I saw screen caps. I didn't have any context, but I was like, yeah, okay, let's take a look at it. And then I did. I was a brony from 2012 up until like 2014, and then I just lost interest. And yeah, that's it's not as long and elaborate as most people's that I know,
Mm.
but it's a story and it's mine. It's mine alone, and I love it.
We got Emily Maloney in the chat saying she was 5 when Friendship is Magic came out, and then Pristine comes up and says I was 5 when the original came out.
Yeah, I'm more on Pristine's level. That makes me feel old.
How old are you?
Not you. I meant the person that said.
Well,
I
if
was
she
5.
said if she was 5, then she'd be 15.
Wow.
Yep.
Great, I have children on here.
How's your crocheting coming along there, Heather?
It's going alright, I think. I'm making the armhole.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like she kind of stopped and restarted, which I think has to do with the armhole.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure I do this right. Don't wanna mess it up. Boo.
Attach your own slipstream next to. No.
So it looks like you're making pretty good progress tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so here's a good question. Buckin wants to know, does Friendship is Magic count as anime? No, it does not. What do we
No.
think?
It's animated in Canada, right?
Yeah, it's animated in Canada, and I'm one of those where I can be flexible as what counts as anime, because some people are like, oh, only if it's made in Japan. I could be a little flexible if there are a lot of anime like theme. I don't want to say themes. If it's trying to have the same aesthetic, I wouldn't say that Friendship is Magic is trying to be anime. There are a lot of anime references in it, but that's like pop culture references. It's not.
It's canime.
Why is everyone obsessed with trying to classify shows that aren't traditionally anime as anime? It's like it's sometimes if I want to look up song meanings and see what other people say, I'll go to song meanings, and there's at least 2 or 3 different people that try to say a song is about drugs or something else when it's
Oh,
really
yeah,
not,
when
and I
it's really
don't
not.
understand it. Like out of all like different interpretations, why is that the one you go for? So I ask,
Censorship.
why are we trying to make everything anime?
I mean,
That anime will rot your brain, so you don't wanna do that anyway. What were you saying, sweetie? Sorry about that.
no, it's okay. I just say generally, if like it seems like by the style that the creators were trying to go for an anime style, I'll consider anime. It does for me personally. I don't feel like it necessarily has to be made in Japan. Some people are saying no. If it's not made in Japan, it's not anime, and to each their own. Like basically, I'm trying to say I would consider like things like Avatar: The Last Airbender made in America, but clearly having very Asian themes in it. I would consider that an anime, and I understand there are a lot of people who say no, it's made in America, thus it is not. I understand that. Logic. I'm not.
I think the best anime ever is Code Lyoko.
Now that was can anime.
Yeah.
That was French anime.
French. Well, that could be French Canadian.
Yeah, French Canadian. Just like I would also consider like Miraculous Ladybug. I would consider that to be franime. French anime. You know, there's a lot of even though it's 3D animated, because there's a lot of anime stuff in there.
Oh, we are getting more 3D animated anime.
Yes, there's a lot of 3D anime. But Miraculous Ladybug actually looks good.
Oh, it does. It looks very good.
Oh, but the new controller 1 just brought the best anime ever back into my head. Thundercats Ho. We forgot about Thundercats Ho, the best anime ever.
The OG Thundercats, and then there was the Thundercats that was the remake that looked pretty good.
The remake was actually pretty nice. I was surprised. I went in there very skeptical, but it was actually pretty nice. And I'm kind of saddened that it died. It was just no one was watching it. And even I discovered the show after it was airing, so I guess that was part of the problem.
Yeah, and we got Emerald Spencer in the chat being very wrong and saying Ruby is the second best anime.
Ruby. I tried to get into
Where
Ruby.
would you say
I
it
couldn't
goes?
get into Ruby. I could not stand the animation. I'm sorry. I've heard it gets better, but I just could not make it through.
Ruby is the second worst.
Oh no,
Anime.
there's a lot worse animes out there, my dear. You haven't gone down the rabbit hole.
I watched like a few episodes of Ruby because I wanted to get into it, and it seemed nice. But then I didn't watch the next one, and then I just never got back to trying to watch it.
He said, Emerald Spencer says Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is the best anime.
I actually should give that one a shot just for the memes.
Oh yeah.
You know something? I found it's a guilty pleasure of mine. Like I was watching it.
Really?
Yeah, I watched
Oh
it
my
out of
gosh, that makes me
curiosity.
so happy!
I
Is that
watched
your
it out of
fetishes, Brownie?
curiosity because
I
I
didn't
kept
know
seeing
that was
memes
your
about
fetish,
it.
Brownie. That's awesome.
You want me to wear a little reptile
I mean,
tail
well, that's
for
not
you?
true. That's not true. I knew it was your fetish. I just didn't know you'd admit to it.
I
Dragon
didn't say
Maid.
it was my freaking fetish. I've been trying to say, like, I was watching it and I was finding it funny while consciously knowing it was trash, which is a very rare phenomenon for me.
I think that's how I was with Earth High Defense Club Love. That's how I was with that. It's like I find it hilarious, and no, it, not only is it trash, but it's intentionally trash. And it's like this is trash and it's great, you know. And I'm like, it is great. It's great trash. I love it.
What? But
I'm that way.
you girls know how pretentious I am. If something's trash, I'm usually like, get this trash out of my face. But
I'm like that with a lot of shows I like. Like, it's like, this is terrible, but I'm liking it. Like Max Steel. Remember Max Steel, Bronny? Brandon? I made them both watch it.
You poor child.
unfortunately,
Poor
I
children, I'm so
remember
sorry.
Max Steel.
I'm so sorry.
I remember Max Steel. Max Steel. Ultimate Spider-Man, something I know is trash, but I'll watch it. Like, there's plenty of shows I'll watch where, like, this is kind of terrible, but I'm loving it.
Okay,
See,
so
I'm
sweet.
somewhere between Heather and Brawny, I think. There are some things that I know is terrible and I'll still love it. And then I have, standards.
So, sweetie, Countess says she just finished watching Ladybug and it made her cry.
I may be behind a little bit. Which episode are you talking about? Because there were a few.
I watched, I think
I'm
know.
caught up. I'm just not sure. Sorry,
I know I watched all of season 1 of Ladybug.
Yes, season
know.
1. There was a big lull between season 1 and season 2, and then season 2 and season 3 came out like back to back, as if trying to make up for lost time.
I feel like I might have watched season 2, but I'm not.
I
100%.
think I've caught up with all of season 2 and 3. I think.
I found like season 1 kind of off-putting because the reason I watched it is because like you know General Apocalypse and how they do those recaps. He was just like the guy who wrote the Ladybug let's put the beginning at the end and the middle in the beginning and the end right here. And it's just like what do we do for the rest of the 15 episodes? He's just like.
The continuity in the first season is absolute trash.
I'm just like, what's going on?
It's really garbage. I actually like though that they did put the beginning at the end. I thought that was clever. I don't know if they did that intentionally, but I kind of liked it because a lot of shows, they'll either A, spend too much time on the origin story and you're sort of like, okay, and you like it takes too long to get going. And then other shows, they'll just sort of start you off at the get-go and not bother to explain where all this started. They sort of did both. They start you off at the get-go, they don't bother with the origin story until later on when you've sort of gotten invested in everything, and then you're willing to take the time to watch it slowly progress into what you know it's going to become. So I actually thought that was clever. The rest of the continuity in season 1 is awful though.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, what?
That's that bullcrap that Haruhi Suzumiya did, though.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's another show that I'm like, this is, what am I watching? But I can't look away.
So let's see here. We got a bunch of people just name dropping shows in the chat here. We got Brand New Animal, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Konosuba, Buck and Five wants to know if we've seen Tokyo Mew Mew.
Yes, and again, I appreciate that you said Tokyo Mew Mew and not Mew Mew Power, which is absolute garbage. 4Kids
Well,
dub.
I'm just
terrible.
reading the chat.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm talking to the person who said it. That they specifically
yeah.
said Tokyo Mew Mew, which is the Japanese name, and not Mew Mew Power, which is the 4Kids name, and they made the whole thing about Valley Girls, and it's not like these girls were especially brilliant to begin with, and they made it worse somehow. I like Tokyo Mew Mew. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the best ever, because there's a lot of, like, oh dear God in it, but there's one element I really, really like in the show. And I watched the whole show for that one element, and that element is Kishu. He is an amazing character, and I watched it for him. I couldn't give 2 cares less about the main character. I didn't care, but I cared about Kishu, and he's the villain.
Oh, Kishu.
Or at least he's the villain. He becomes a sort of anti-villain later on, but he's the villain when you first start, and he's the most compelling character.
Dude, half the time that's why I watch anything. If the bad guy ain't good, I ain't watching.
You should watch it. I think you'd like it. I think if you'd like Tokyo Mew Mew, Brawny would hate it.
Absolutely.
All I know about Tokyo Mew Mew is one day when I was 14, I was doing some exercises at home, and all of a sudden my older brother comes in the room and duffs me in the gut and throws me across the room, going, "What are you doing watching Tokyo Mew Mew?" And I'm like, "What the frick is Tokyo Mew Mew?" So we get into this whole thing where he's like, you got Tokyo Mew Mew recorded on the DVR, and I'm like, what the frick are you talking about? So like 10 minutes of like us yelling at each other with all these accusations flying around. I have no idea what's going on. We finally figured out that for some reason, whatever the anime channel was, they switched the time. I was trying to record Street Fighter 2V, and they switched it with Tokyo Mew Mew at the same time, so the DVR recorded that.
A little bit of a tonal whiplash.
Yeah, so my older brother thinks I'm watching Tokyo Mew Mew. To this day, 15 years later, I don't know what it is.
It's a magical girl anime where the girls turn into kitty cats and monkeys and birds and porpoises and...
Yeah, so basically I got the gay beaten out of me for something I didn't even watch.
Buckin' Five says night, everyone.
Good night!
Good night.
And Bagorn is asking if we all watched the best anime of all time, Sonic X.
I watched a little bit of it.
I watched the theme
song. Gotta go fast in the other direction of that anime.
I think Sonic X to me was what Card Captors was to Brawny. I would watch the theme song because it was the best part. I'm like, yeah, and click.
I need to take my horn off. My sweat's collecting underneath. Ugh.
She's not horny anymore.
I've seen
Sorry,
Snap Cube's dub of a Sonic X episode. That's kind of about it.
I've seen a little of it. I liked Rouge in that. She was doing stuff.
Speed of sound. Let's go around.
More wing boners.
Oh no.
Oh no! My crowd's going down. This is what I get for trying to cosplay. I should have just stuck to my LooneyCon shirt. Do you love it?
Oh, I get it.
Legit,
It's
the most
turtles.
official
I got it.
of
I got it.
merch. It's Looney and his 4 personalities. Party dude, machines.
Just think, if you'd gone out with Looney like I wanted you to, when Brawny was taking too much time, you could have had 4 waifus in one. Because Brawny was dragging his goddamn feet. Actually, that's not true. I think by the time I started giving up on Brawny and shipping her with Looney, they were already secretly dating.
Secretly.
Secret.
But I think though my timing was kind of. I think my timing was kind of perfect because I feel like, well, if they're not gonna do it now, then either I have to make Brawny jealous at the idea that he might actually lose her, or she just needs to move on because the guy's not gonna get off his rump. So clearly my timing was perfect. I just didn't know how perfect it was. So.
It says with the wrong side facing, but you know, is it wrong because you say it's wrong, or is that your opinion? These things are
They're
subjective.
the books, so I guess if it's wrong, that is fact.
But what is wrong?
Emily Maloney's asking if you've seen the Sonic movie.
I think you're trying to make it work when it ain't gonna.
I look so
Yeah, so-
good in it though.
You do. You look lovely.
Read that again, Brandon.
Emily Maloney is asking if we've seen the Sonic movie.
Yes.
Yes, we've all have, haven't we?
Yep.
We liked
It's
it.
It
it
was
really
adorable.
wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I thought it was really cute. Everybody kept on comparing it to Detective Pikachu, and I felt like that. I mean, I understood, but I don't think it's a fair comparison. The Sonic film is a far simpler movie, and in that sense, it's good. Detective Pikachu was a little bit more complicated.
Oh yeah.
So the Sonic film was like, it's just a buddy film, and it's great. It's adorable.
It's a road trip.
Yeah.
With the Donut Lord
With the Donut Lord, exactly.
and Pretzel Lady.
Donut Lord and Pretzel Lady.
That's a family. Alright, let me figure this out.
And I liked how the reason why he liked them is because they were nice to animals. She was a vet, and he, like, helped ducks cross the roads and stuff.
Yep. I know you're out there. I know you exist. No, I don't. Oh, that was a surprisingly enjoyable movie.
I suppose it wasn't surprising for me, but I think that's because I was a little late to the game, and so everyone was like, that was actually really good. I'm like, oh.
Pleasant.
Pleasant.
Could have done without the Olive Garden and Zillow product
Oh.
placement.
Yeah, well, the only reason I had a problem with that, because, like, I love Olive Garden. Like, no one loves Olive Garden that much. You're a liar. Olive Garden sucks.
Olive Garden is where you go when you're drunk and can't tell what Italian food actually is.
Where'd you
And
get that from?
drunk and rich. Like, that's the problem. You know, is that it's not real Italian food, but they charge you like it's real Italian food. At least when I go to Pizza Hut, I know I'm not getting real Italian food, but I'm getting cheap non-Italian food. That's my problem. With
I've never been to Olive Garden. Like I meme about it sometimes, but I've never actually went into one.
Here's the thing, though. They actually have really good salads. Like, I think their salads taste good, and they bring them out to you in the proportion that you should serve a salad, which
Instead
is
of
in
a
salad
huge-
bowl.
Yeah.
I did like the salads. If that's saying something.
That,
if I
that
like
would
a
be
salad.
saying something.
I would get soup.
Emerald
with salad.
Spencer says unlimited breadsticks beg to differ.
Breadsticks are pretty good.
Yeah.
Decent breadstick.
Give me unlimited garlic knots, and then we'll talk.
Cheesy.
Cheesy.
You
I
know
mean,
something? I
guess
can go
there's
for
full
some
cheese
garlic
on top.
knots right now.
Do it.
Sweetie, order us some garlic knots.
I don't know if anything's open.
Yeah, that's fair. There's
It's after 8.
there's a curfew now,
Mhm.
sort of.
I'm not entirely sure if they've enforced the curfew yet or not, but
Yeah, lockdown.
yeah. Well, we're technically in shelter in place. We're not quite at the lockdown level yet. That's more California, Washington level.
Yikes.
Yeah, we got shelter in place down here in Florida too, but
Yeah, but I hear
aside
that.
from
Sorry, go ahead.
aside from the week-long Sunday traffic, you wouldn't know anything was different. Like nothing's different. Well, I'm out of work, but other than that,
Well, the whole thing is, at least for us, that we have to prove that we're essential, basically.
How do you go
Yep.
about doing that?
Usually, your work will give you something that I still haven't gotten it at my work yet, but they should be distributing things that basically say I'm essential. In case a cop pulls you over and like, why are you out? Because they can. They can absolutely pull you over and question why you're out. And if your answer isn't like, if for instance, if you're out at midnight and you try to tell them you're going to the grocery store, guess what? 24-hour grocery stores aren't 24 hours anymore. You know, so that's bullcrap. So unless you say, you know, unless you show them that card, you can get a ticket.
Despite being in something of a hot zone when it comes to this, I haven't, to my knowledge, I'm not really on lockdown, and I especially haven't had to deal with anything like that.
Am I allowed to ask what state you're in? Or would that be too personal?
Just New York.
Really?
New York is hot.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you should be on lockdown.
We should be. My workplace should be closed.
I again want to ask what you do for a living, but maybe I'm getting too personal. I'm
I'll
like,
tell you
well,
some other
I
time.
guess what place do you work at? I suppose.
I actually didn't catch that. I'm sorry.
Where do you work? Like company? I mean, not. I mean, you could say like, what kind of store it is or whatever, but.
I am at a nondescript hardware store.
Yeah, hardware stores are staying open, I think, because people still need to do work on their homes. So I think they're considered essential. Even
Yeah,
though
well,
they're
with all the orders that people are bringing in, seems people are more concerned with caring about their gardens than they are with I don't know.
because they can't go
Boarding
any
up their
further in
homes.
their garden, probably, yeah. But yeah, I remember hearing like a Home Depot ad that's like, yeah, we're considered essential because you're still doing work on your house. Even though I feel like, well, yeah, because in the case of like Home Depot, I don't know if you could do they probably should do like, I'm sorry if I'm focusing on Home Depot. That's just the one I know. I suppose there are things like Lowe's and whatever. That's just Home Depot's what we would go to when I was a kid. I suppose they could do curbside stuff. Would probably be safer. But I don't think they could stick to mail order because sometimes you need something like right now. Like my toilet exploded in my, you know, I need something to stop the leakage, you know, now. So I suppose like mail order stuff would be effective. So I can kind of see that. Sort of.
Well, let's see here. Honey Drop just said something that kind of scared me. Did anyone hear about the earthquake in Yellowstone?
Yes. I hear that they're wondering if the volcano may be erupting soon.
How far away is Yellowstone?
Far enough
It
away
doesn't.
we shouldn't
It
have to
doesn't
worry
really matter if Yellowstone erupts. The whole world is going down.
Well, to be honest,
We're kind of going down.
we're kind of going down. I feel like there's the thematic appropriateness that this is all happening during Lent. Easter is going to be
Yeah.
I'm
I
just
made
saying.
that joke, sweetie, and I
like-
can't remember if I told you that joke. It was like God saying, "You know something? I don't think there's enough people doing Lent." So
No, I didn't hear that joke. I saw someone else post on my Facebook. It's like, I really didn't expect to be giving up this much for Lent. And then I think I sort of realized it way before that, like before it got as bad as it is now. When Saber Spark made a tweet about like, oh yeah, March be like, and then it had a clip it from the Prince of Egypt, and I'm like, or no, he said March has been bad, and then April be like, and he showed a clip it like the plagues song from the Prince of Egypt, and I'm like, well, Passover isn't Easter. I'm just saying, maybe we should be slaughtering lambs and painting our doorposts just in case. I mean, neither of us are firstborn. We'll be fine.
Oh yeah, that's right. We don't know about knife.
Yeah, knife could be firstborn.
She's in a litter. Are they all considered first?
Kinda. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it in the animal kingdom, to be honest.
You better not take my cat.
I'm now doing an inventory on who's the older, like. No, he's got an older brother. Oh, I should warn Anthony. I think he's the oldest.
Ah!
Who else is the oldest?
Well, I got
My
curious and I
parents
looked
are,
it up.
and my older sister. I suppose I should actually care about my own particular family.
I got curious and looked it up, and a few sources are saying it's not anything to worry about.
Yeah.
But
That's what they said about Corona.
Yeah, I know. That's what they said about Corona. Exactly. I'm just saying.
No, if it's a volcano,
Mhm.
there's not anything you can do about
Yeah,
that.
it's not like
so-
we could do much about that, really. I mean, we
yeah,
are-
nobody knows how to set. We have killed a few volcanoes, which I think is cool, but nobody even has a clue of what to do with a super volcano.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking something 100 times the size of St. Helens.
Yeah. I remember the Mount St. Helens eruption. You were probably too young for that.
I haven't even heard of it.
Oh, dear God.
And basically, if something of a magnitude of St. Helens, if there's an eruption in the Yellowstone area around the magnitude of St. Helens, then basically everything from Idaho to Washington is just going to open up and get blasted straight into space.
It's gonna be fun times. Happy Easter.
Yep.
The whole world is a giant egg that will be cracked.
You know, if it looks like this, it looks like I'm making knife a little like tank top.
It does, yes.
She's gonna look all sexy.
Hmm. So you guys know what to do. Yellowstone is erupting. Buy up all the toilet paper.
Oh, dear God, that's so stupid.
I mean, hey, gotta wipe up the lava somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when it comes out from the ground, it's magma.
It's
Get it
true.
right.
No, it's the other way around. If it's still under the ground, it's magma. When it's outside of the ground, it's lava.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, well then, it only takes one geologist. Listen, I got a C+ in geology in high school.
Yeah, no, it's lava underground is magma.
Okay. Yeah, DJ Skywalker, the U.S. Geological Survey said this is normal for Yellowstone. Nothing's out of the ordinary. Okay.
Alright. Sure.
I kind of figured
What
that.
they said about
I
the
wasn't
blue.
sure. I do think to some extent people are still a bit hopped up on.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
On panic and everything,
Oh yes.
and that's why my favorite restaurants that are completely innocent in this whole thing are closing. People are so afraid to visit Chinese and Japanese restaurants because they're afraid they're gonna get coronavirus or something. And
That's why I've actually made a point of ordering Chinese delivery as much as I can.
I didn't catch that.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying I've made a point of ordering Chinese delivery for that reason. And I like Chinese food, so.
Win-win.
Exactly.
Absolute win.
I haven't had it in a while, and I sure can't get it now.
You can look around. I'm sure some are still open. Maybe not your favorite ones, and I apologize if that's the case, but.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not open. You have to do delivery. A restaurant shouldn't be open for dine-in. That's not a thing anymore. But delivery and sometimes takeout are usually still options.
So, Heather, were we doing a typical 2-hour stream tonight?
Yep. So I think in a minute we'll be in the last 10 minutes of the stream. Last 10 minutes of the stream. So any last minute comments, questions, or concerns, say them now for hold your silence until the next stream, or maybe the next panel if that's the next time you want to check in with me. If I ever decide to run another one, I swear I will get the time thingy right next time.
We're in Pacific Standard, or rather Pacific Daylight Time.
Well, remind me when I make the panel.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll.
Because I was thinking that, I swear I was going to be home in time for her panel. Why is she now saying that it's going to be at 8:30 Mountain Standard Time?
Because technically it was.
Because that's what it was scheduled for, but Heather does not
Yeah,
understand.
she was telling me that it's like, oh, it's gonna be at 8:30. I'm like, oh, I get off work at 7:30. I'll be home in plenty of time. And then I saw your postings. I'm like, oh, or I guess I'll only catch half of it.
Yeah, like, I really didn't realize that until 5 minutes, no, not even 5 minutes, right when the stream was supposed to start. Ronnie's like, hey, shouldn't it have started right now? I'm like, what? No, what are you talking about? He's like, no, it's Mountain Standard Time, 8:30 right now. I'm like, oh, God! So we started 2 minutes late. Just 2 minutes. We
That's actually pretty good, given that it was only 2 minutes.
Well, only 2 minutes, so I'm not sweating it too much. I'm sweating in general.
Ronnie Buck saves the day yet again.
Pretty
I
much.
think it was Emerald Spencer who said he was the one talking to you about that. That then you
Yeah,
decided.
so actually Emerald Spencer saved because he looked at the schedule and was like, hey, this says 8:30 Mountain Standard Time, and isn't that coming up? And I was like, okay. And then I double checked it with Heather, and she said 8:30. I said, well, okay, that's now.
So I thank Emerald Spencer for this and not Ronnie. And Emerald Spencer, thank you very much, and also thank you for being a patron. He is my first patron in a long while, the second patron I've ever had. So that's great.
Yeah.
So, also, I think I should plug this in now before I forget. I do have a Patreon, and I guess I'll start using it now that I have one. I've got one. If you decide to pledge $10 to me, like Emerald Spencer has done, you can enter my Discord server. Super exclusive club, mainly because it's just... five people are in there. So,
And I'm one of them. And I'm never there.
Like Brandon was telling me, I was like, is she even gonna like? Does he even want to be in here?
But
Like,
guys,
come on.
let me tell
I'm
you why
gonna be
you have to
honest.
join up this
She's just in
Patreon.
there.
It's for the memes, right? We
Your
just
star
spam
power.
the best memes at each other all day.
We do put
That's-
a lot of music
That's
on.
So
why.
good.
That's why I'm never there. I have to mute the Discord because it pisses me off that it keeps on buzzing up my phone all day.
I'm sorry. memes. There's memes.
So yeah, no. What tends to happen when I join a Discord server is I'm like, "Hey guys," and I almost immediately mute it because like if people are talking too much, like I'm like, oh shut up. You know?
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way with every server I've ever been put into. I think the only reason I use servers now is so that I can link my stream everywhere. That's the only reason.
There you go.
Only reason. And now I have my own stream to link my stream in. My own server to link my stream in.
Yes,
You get it.
I get you.
So wait, can I plug my Twitter?
Yes,
Sure.
you can
Plug your Twitter, Brandon.
Also follow me on Twitter.
And me, and I actually use my Twitter. That's a thing I use. Go for it, Brendan.
So I'm Dark Prince of Emo on Twitter. What I post usually are a lot of musings. Some stay up, some don't. And I've started this series where I look through my spam folder and I find those weird suggestive emails and I purposely overanalyze them, and it's actually pretty decent fun. And I've been doing it for a little bit. You can check out all those installments and ones to come because there's a lot of them. And yeah, you'll find all that at Dark Prince of Emo.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Really good stuff.
We're looking forward to your videos,
That will.
Mr. Emo.
Pretty soon.
It's Prince Emo to you.
Prince, you know.
I don't recognize his authority.
You don't recognize mine either, but you still call me princess.
What is a prince to a king?
What's a king
Usually
to a
it's-
legend?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wasn't aware that Brawny was a king.
I call him my king just to be sweet, but then he goes to his head.
It's what you get for feeding the egos of the egomaniacs.
I'm sorry. Wanted to make him feel good.
So, Heather, you've had a pretty good turnout tonight. We had like 17 viewers at one point. So, guys, if it's your first time tuning into these streams, we do these every Saturday. Typically at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, whichever one you're on.
Isn't it just 7 o'clock our time?
And
7 o'clock our time.
yeah, what we
It's
what we
7
do is
o'clock
we just say,
Arizona time.
That's what I was saying
Which
at the
will
beginning of
change.
this.
Which will change. In November, Arizona time is going to become Mountain Standard Time. So it's 7 o'clock
Yep.
Arizona time.
But for now, it's 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and 7 o'clock Arizona time. Yeah, I would definitely like to see you guys come back. And this is what we do. We just, granted we didn't pay as much attention to the chat as we usually do because we were treating it like a panel. But yeah, what we do is we hang out, we watch Heather crochet, and we hang out and we read the chat.
There's a bit of chaos sometimes.
So how long have you
Just a little
been
bit.
keeping Brawny up
Not a
an
lot.
extra hour and not realizing it?
Tonight's a
wanna think
very
about it.
special night because we are coming
is
up on the
Saturday.
last few minutes here, and I haven't made any puns yet.
I did though.
She-
Ha!
she
I
did.
beat you.
She did
Wait.
actually.
Good job, sweetie. You've earned it.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you.
Yeah. And your pride feels me wishing.
This
You have learned well, my son.
I feel like you're
What?
only half the reason, but at least you're part of the reason. There's another glasses, receding hairline man who's also to blame.
Yeah, but I'm the best glasses receding hairline man.
I disagree. I'd love to see you two go at it, though. It'd be hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
we don't hang out enough with that guy.
We gotta go watch Sweetie's streams more often.
You're usually streaming. I guess you won't be anymore, but you're usually streaming when Mass Singer comes on, and I can't miss Mass Singer.
Yes. The Pony Finder Untamed Lands game was actually on Wednesdays. Now it's going to be on Thursdays, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's changing to Thursdays because now we're doing a thing at work, and now I have Thursdays off.
What are the new days?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh, 3-day weekend.
Yeah. 3 12-hour shifts and a half a day on Wednesday.
Yikes.
Yep.
Oh, girl.
They're splitting us into A and B teams. Basically, the idea that if one of us gets corona, it'll only wipe out half of the staff.
Holy nuts. Either way, that's not like a very preferable scenario.
No, but that's what they're doing. At
By
least
the
I still
time
technically have
by the time
3
you know
hours.
one of you has it, the rest of the office will have it too.
No, the whole point is to not do that. The whole point is that,
okay.
I mean, starting from now, obviously, is that literally I will not have contact with half of my team. Half of the people in my department, I will literally today was kind of emotional because I was saying goodbye to half of to people that I would not see until further notice at all. You know, they're completely keeping us completely isolated and deep cleaning the whole building between the shifting of team A to team B, or vice versa. So,
It's grim. It's grim.
Retro gamer Kevin says hi to Sweetie.
hello.
Give her a hug.
I can't because of Corona.
Virtual hug.
Remember social distancing.
Yeah, I sort of was like, screw social. Tell all the people I wasn't gonna see again. I was like, screw social distancing. I'm giving you a hug. And even one of them even like doesn't like hugs, and she's like, but for you, I will give you a hug. I'm like, okay. Okay. I need hugs.
You do. You must be suffering through all this.
I am. But so are we all.
Christine wants to know if we're talking about Silver Quill, and now we're talking about Anthony C.
Anthony has. Are you the one giving him a gosh darn complex about his hair? He has lovely hair.
I haven't seen his hair in a while. How's it doing?
It's floofy as usual, although he insists that it's also receding. He's like, I'm going bald. I'm like, what? And of course he says that to Silverquill as well, and he's like, cry me a goddamn river. He's like, I'm younger than you. Shut up.
Silverquill's younger than Anthony?
By a year, but yeah.
Oh, there you go. They're older dudes.
Wait. No, I lied. I'm sorry. It's the other way around.
Oh.
Sorry. Sorry, guys. Yeah, sorry. No, my bad. I guess Anthony's a year younger. Younger.
And,
Yes.
I just found my next email to probably overanalyze.
Oh, you
Sweet.
have fun with that. I'm gonna finish this, the last row.
Also,
before-
Anthony hardly ever wears glasses, which makes me sad, but you know.
Does he not need them to see?
I think he's got like, either he wears contacts. I think he wears contacts most of the time. so he rarely wears glasses. And then like he also like shaved his beard, made me sad. But he was like, "I'm sorry, I tried, but it started like getting scratchy and blah blah blah." And he made excuses.
Anthony would look really good with a ponytail. He should
No,
grow
he
his
would
hair
not. Don't you dare put that in his head. I will cut it off. I will fly to Australia to cut it off. No! Don't do that to Silver either. I'll do the same thing. And he'd probably do it just to get an excuse to get me to fly to Colorado.
Oh my god, you're making him do that laugh, sweetie. Don't let him win. Don't let him win. He's doing the laugh!
Damn it.
The deep laugh! Okay, on that note, it's time to call this panel. I'm calling this panel.
Besides, I was referring to Anthony C. Anthony C. should grow his hair out.
Either way, don't do it. Either way.
Alright, with that, I'm ending the stream. It's been a very good.
Yeah,
It's been
see
a very
y'all
good
next week.
panel. It's been the first panel that I ran because I've been on online panels before, all for Sweetie, because she does great shipping panels, and that's how I've become acquainted with Silver Quill and a few other people. So it's very fun. But yes, I think my first panel went rather well, despite that one hiccup. You know, you guys got to know me. Yeah, you guys got to know me better. We learned a bit more about the people who work with us and all that. Okay, how about everybody say goodbye in alphabetical order? Brandon, you first.
Goodbye, everybody. It was
Ron?
nice being here.
Ronnie, you next.
Goodbye.
And I go super last because, well, not alphabetically, but because I want to be last. Anyways, guys, thank you for making my first stream a success. I'm Heather Blossom, and I'll see you next week if you choose.